Okay, I guess it's time to start the stream. All right. Need to actually figure out what I'm talking about today as well. At least I figured out the scheduled stream part on YouTube. Otherwise, I was not streaming to the event, so I posted a link on X, and I was not actually streaming on that URL because apparently, if you just start the stream, my expectation was it just goes to the URL that you scheduled, but it actually just starts a new stream with a newer URL. So the scheduled stream was just hanging there in the air, although it was already past the live. Oh, God, this is not what I want. I don't want to repeat. I just wanted to check my. Yep, YouTube's working. All right. All good. So I'm a little bit stuck today. The topics, but I should also probably share the screen. Yeah, I can start with the returning a little bit to the yesterday's topic as well. Because yesterday's topic was mostly Black Friday, and then I'm returning back to this image. And then this is how most people treat Black Friday, you know. It's the lower price, and everyone's just waiting on Wednesday, Thursday, or 1 week before, 2 weeks before, you know, and then on Black Friday, you have the price increased and the sale price is the same as before. I've actually seen this happen before. Now it's, at least for where I am, it's technically illegal, but I've seen it used to happen here as well. Now they're a little bit smarter. They increase the price like a month before or something, so they are still within the law when they discount it on Black Friday. That's pretty much what's happening. Now it's funny, when I yesterday went over, we barely got through the schedule, so we probably need to do another stream on the Black Friday, or maybe I'm just gonna do a little bit more condensed video, which will include both the Black Friday, both the stuff from the stream and some additional content for a condensed version. I'm just too lazy to edit them. Oh yeah, we also had a lot of pricing discussions. Where can I find it? Because in the small bets community, we had a lot of pricing discussion. And also on X as well. I've seen it on X. That's usually what sparked the pricing discussion in general, was the comments on X regarding the annual pricing, the lifetime pricing, and also there was also some kind of 5 or 10 year pricing options that are appearing, and like I have a lot of mixed feelings about those pricing models in general. Because, for example, if I pull up this tweet, let me check. If I pull up this tweet, and it's like, so what? Say what you want about subscriptions. I would never been able to charge someone nearly 1K for a one-time payment on a little sauce. So this is revenue per customer basically, and yeah, they're like what 600, 700, 900 total spend on a subscription that I have no idea like what the subscription is. Is it 49 euros a month, $29? No idea. I would assume it's at least $49, if not $99, in just around 1 year. Sure. No, actually, if the other customers are 600, it's probably more like 49. So maybe they haven't churned for like a year and a half. And when you look at the pricing, it'd be like, oh, so if you're doing a one-time charge, you're charging 1K, for example, or 900, 600, whatever those targets, those total spends are. Obviously, it's much harder to just charge those 600 upfront. There's no discussion, there's no debate about whether it's harder to charge it or not. But it also depends generally on the audience you're working with, and the ones you'll be charging one-time fee might actually be a completely different customer audience, or at least a small segment of the same audience that you'll be able to charge that way. So if you go only lifetime pricing, for example, I have a suspicion that if you just calculate the lifetime value of the customer multiplied by a conversion rate, for example, you're not going to end up with a positive ROI compared to the monthly pricing. However, we also discussed that in chat, was that you could have a better business model by charging one-time fee, because there's a completely different mindset between the two, between the one-time fee and the monthly. Because from a monthly subscription perspective, you're always worried that someone's going to churn. So you need to be constantly pushing out updates. You need to be constantly communicating with your audience and with your customer base, just because you're worried that they might churn. So you want to be kind of on top of their mind. Yeah, our updates are coming. We're working on this, and you want to keep them kind of engaged. Even if it's not true that you need to be engaged, you will have a sense of urgency that you need to be pushing something out so you don't churn. It's the same way how Netflix or Amazon Video, Prime Video would work, that they constantly have new series coming out, new seasons of series coming out, because the only way they keep you away from churning is by having new, fresh content out. Now, that quality of the content, obviously, if it's just pushed out like that, on average, will probably go down. It's going to be lower budget production. It will be probably sometimes worked in a very short deadlines on specific series. So you actually you're just potentially not gonna have as good of a quality. You might actually find strike some gold with some kind of indie movie, for example, Lord of the Rings, honestly, as far as I remember, was very low budget compared to other that type of blockbuster movies. I believe Lord of the Rings series actually had a total budget that was significantly lower than you would expect for the movies like that. But they actually turned out to be great. They're probably often regarded as one of the best, the series of the initial movies, not the Hobbits that came out. They've been regarded one of the best movies made, especially given also the circumstances. However, on average, you'll obviously probably not going to see that polished quality, and if you need to continuously put new series out, new content out, you obviously will also probably be reusing existing franchises, like the Lord of the Rings has the series now, etc. on these services. So you'll might just butcher the whole franchise by just releasing really bad sequels. I think there was also a Star Wars sequel that was really bad, series that were really bad. Acolyte or something. I have no idea. I don't watch those. Just heard about bad reviews. And the same applies with this monthly, right? You might actually be more stressed about having to put those updates out when you do the monthly subscription, and your quality might actually go down compared to the getting paid up front, delivering a good quality product, not having to worry when you need to deliver, for example, necessarily the next big update where you improve things. You might actually have a better quality product just by charging upfront, even if you lose some of those conversions. Even if you make less money from that product. It might be better quality product, which could over time and in the end lead to more customers. Ironically, yeah, I know it kind of becomes a little bit ironic, but um, just sharing through word of mouth and good reviews might end up being a better product. So there's a trade-off you can't really quantify. Like quantify if you just look at the numbers. Obviously, some people will always push me like, "You're probably losing money," and I'm not arguing for either model to be better option. I would genuinely say that either model is probably good enough um, in the right context. However, without experiencing and trying out both, you'll probably never know what you actually yourself like, whether you like these one-time fee type of structures for your products, whether you like subscription. And I think I had some. Huh? I'm trying to. I see that I might have chat on, but give me a. I lost my train of thought because for some reason. Oh, and I need to lower the sound. Oh, nice. I have spammers in the chat. It just didn't show up in the Streamlabs. Why is it not showing up today? Every time I'm streaming, I have some sort of issues. This time, I think that is from Twitch. Okay, let me check quickly on this other monitor. Yep. Can I get rid of this message? I can, right? Learning to use Twitch while being live is not fun because I'm trying to. I thought I could delete something, at least the way it worked before. What's going on? Because I definitely don't want your services, whatever you're spamming. Could potentially reset this. Can I? Okay, I think it resets anyway. Alright, I got away at least from the spam messages on stream. Nice. Lost my train of thought as well with this. Whatever I was talking about the pricing, right? Oh yeah, I was talking about the lifetime and monthly subscriptions that you basically need to try out whatever pricing model you see potentially better fit for yourself and see what works for you, because they obviously might have the right place and the right time for each of them. Subscriptions are always easier to get in, even if people don't really like subscribing to many things anymore, especially now. Like there's just so much subscription fatigue with all the services. Just like having like 3 to 5 streaming services at least alone, paying for even for like YouTube Premium, which many people pay for just to remove ads because they might also watch on the TV, like replacing the cable TV with YouTube instead. So yeah, I would, but what I generally also see is that the pricing for lifetime offers on something like I just need to go back and even look at annual offers, for example. Like I worked with a lot of Shopify clients in e-commerce, and most of them were on monthly plans, and obviously they would not be closing their store. They're quite well established, most of them doing like sales for multiple years already, at least on Shopify. Like they're not gonna be quitting, like closing the shop on Shopify. They should actually save the money and go on an annual plan, right? Because rationally it makes sense. But no, they stay on a monthly plan because there's some risk averse. Uh, there's some kind of risk aversion when you don't actually want to commit up front, especially in B2B. It's very noticeable that you're not committing up front. Unless you feel like the offer to you is very very beneficial to you as a business, so you get you get a contract that's beneficial to you, for example, then you might commit upfront with a for a good deal. But otherwise you kind of like to avoid that upfront commitment, especially in e-commerce where margins can be quite low compared to digital sales. You also have some impact on the cash flow. For a Shopify subscription, if you're not on Shopify Plus, you're obviously then like the annual fee would be relatively low compared to usually how much business you're doing. So you could afford it, but you're still not doing it. So, and that's the problem. If you're not subscribing to annual plans on something like that, you know you will likely use for years, because obviously you need to be optimistic about the business, that it's, especially if it's doing good and doing better than before, that you're sticking with Shopify, you're sticking with e-commerce. So if you're not taking the discount even on annual plans, why do you think people will go to a lifetime offer? Like that's the first counter argument would you use. If there are for tools that people would use regardless, those are not even the supplementary tools, those are literally the core tools vital to your business's existence. If you're not switching to even an annual plan that saves you money for that, why would you go with lifetime pricing? That's the biggest question I would have for like when evaluating this kind of offer. In that sense, because I myself am mostly on monthly plans on a lot of tools I use, and I might use them throughout the year, might not use them throughout the year, but I am on monthly plans. I have not switched to. I have definitely not switched to the annual plans. I accidentally actually bought an annual plan for on X for X, so on X the premium. So that was by accident, by the way. I didn't realize it was switched to annual by default or something. I mean, it's usually by default on annual. I just didn't check because those colors on the toggle, I think, were a little bit confusing for me, and I just looked at it. I was like, press the button at 2 a.m. Got the annual subscription. But yeah, obviously we are talking about, okay, that's the drawback for the pricing. Then we're talking about obviously the benefits as well. As we talked about, you get the money right away, there's more peace of mind, you don't worry about churn as much or at all, and you're technically can develop the business on your terms from that point on. Like you don't want to get refunded and just not do anything, but you kind of living more on your terms. Comparing that to maybe like loans or mortgages as well, in a way that some people might feel like if they have a loan or something, they might feel like constantly pressured because they need to pay something every month, and that brings them stress. I kind of feel like I'm one of those people, even though I do have monthly subscriptions. I kind of one of those people where I hate that constant pressure of like having a loan. So I mostly buy things I can buy up front, and I buy them in full. I do not own a single credit card. Like I have a like a debit card, I guess you call it, because for me locally they're all called mostly credit cards. But I have a debit card, yes. So I spend what I have on the card, right? But I don't have a single credit card. So I don't have any. I don't have any points or anything that I'm collecting on those. So and paying it back. So I don't have a single credit card. So I avoid being in debt to anyone in general. In general, I avoid that as much as I can. And it's not always a good strategy, because obviously sometimes you need to like leverage the fact that you get something upfront uh, as an asset. That obviously would make more room for exceptions regarding to real estate and stuff, but that's my generally for these kind of just random, especially like products for some kind of tooling or like just purchases that I enjoy or just want for myself. I try to avoid that. Yeah, and I guess the other benefit, yeah, is the pre-funding. I think I saw it in the chat. Benjamin in the small bets community actually mentioned pre-funding your business, which just goes into a point where you have the peace of mind. It's also you kind of pre-fund whatever you want to do with it, whether you want to have the profits for it or you want to have for example resources to actually spend on ads, maybe make some a little bit also more risky advertising moves with some cash you have on hand. That's actually in a way I feel like that's a little bit of a risky aspect too, because you kind of have the funds, but depends how you spend them, right? If you need money for survival, you should take that money out probably right away. If you treat that business as your primary income, so you don't actually end up making the business choices that might evaporate those funds, and then you're stuck with no money, but you still have customers and you still have the business to support. And if you don't support it, they might ask for a refund, etc. However, I do actually consider the one-time fee as a valid model for some options, for some businesses. I think it could work. I think it work. Like the problem is with pricing as well, right? Because for example, if you have like, let's say you have a subscription at $29 a month, and it equals to, let's say, like 400 like LTV, right, lifetime value, and then you have let's say for some reason you decide that your lifetime deal will be 900, right? So 900 LTV, theoretically, yeah. It's what you will get here is that you might have at the 400 LTV, which will be the $29 a month. You might end up having like let's say 3% conversion rate, right? And at the 900 lifetime, you have let's say 1% conversion rate, right? So it's actually generous, but I think it's generous. But you have this difference here, right? What we end up having here is that you have a higher conversion rate on the subscription, obviously, and you have a lower conversion generally, implying the audiences are more or less the same. So maybe you have the same audience, but the lifetime deals only is the subset of the audience and ends up subscribing. It's because the barrier of entry is higher, and there's more reservations when you have a higher barrier of entry. There are more concerns, there are more comparisons made at that point when you need to commit larger sum of money, unless that's an audience where 900 doesn't bother them, for example. I chose this example with this huge difference in LTV in a way on a purpose, because honestly I think many people, especially in indie space, probably have not been in the business with a project long enough to figure out what their actual LTV will be. So they don't know if it's 400 or if it's 900. For $29 a month, obviously, you're probably not expecting it to be 900, because you'll be working for like what it should be like. They need to be subscribed for like 3 years. Yeah, but the point being, you end up with this. So what we end up here is that for the $29 a month, you get what, like 400 divided by 100. So you get 4 multiplied by 3, right? You get $12 per visitor, right? $12 per visitor. And on the 900 lifetime, you would be getting 9, right? $9 per visitor. So you can see the subscription model is still more profitable, theoretically, in theory, right? In this kind of example, it's more profitable. And we even have this that in a lifetime we actually went more than 2x on the LTV for this offer, which is unlikely. If the actual LTV would be 400 and you would be aware of it, it's very unlikely you would be getting 900 lifetime sale, obviously, because you can see you're going from 29 bucks a month to 900 lifetime, right? So you would be already in this example with very high lifetime fee, you'd be getting higher if implying these conversion rates would hold, right? Uh, y- like obviously in this specific example, this conversion rate would probably be more like 0.1%, honestly. No, it's not going to be 0.1%, but it's going to be pretty low usually, unless you somehow have positioned the product where the 900 suddenly looks like it's an exclusive product and there's some kind of luxury aspect to it. But implying we have somewhat similar audiences, I would play with these numbers. I would say generally on average you're gonna have a lower conversion rate, and it's not gonna be even just 1/3 of it. It's gonna be way lower. But but anyway, in this example, I'm already showcasing the monthly subscription being more profitable. However, yeah, we do need to talk about the fact that taking the $9 and having the money up front from customers and not having to worry about all the churn aspects and everything, just the mental psychological aspect for it for many people will be better. So getting that discount on the visitor is better for you probably mentally. It might be better for you business wise. So that would make sense, right? But if we would play the same game out and do something like let's just make sure we're putting it for 50, right? We're putting it for 50. Suddenly the lifetime is 450, which is more in line with what you would expect considering your LTV for the $29 subscription is 400. We're putting it all 50. So what we get here is conversion rate might go up to 1.5%. Okay, maybe just bump it up a little bit, right? So this still stays the same, 450. So we get oh god, this is not good. Not good for the numbers, but it's fine. We get $6, right? 6.75. Yeah. That's what we should be getting here. Yeah, so here we get a little bit worse numbers. We get half the money, right, with a lifetime, implying we somehow managed to increase the conversion rate to 1.5% by asking 450. I don't see an aspect where you are guaranteed to increase this, because I have also a feeling that if you actually would start comparing those conversion rates between markets, there comes in the spot where there are places with less cash on hand, dispensable income and less cash on hand, even for businesses or less cash on hand. So the US will obviously usually have more just money available to them, whether that's because they're getting paid like every 2 weeks, and like many countries in Europe paying monthly, for example, whether that's just higher income, obviously, uh, just more money in rotation. They just have the money on hand. They could just pay the lifetime, right? If you go to other places, lower income, less cash on hand, less dispensable income, especially in Europe nowadays, doesn't seem to be doing that great in terms of how much money people are left over after all the living expenses. So the 450 lifetime, maybe it sounds good for US, right? But you might have this thing that where the conversion rate in Europe is actually half of that, and that is I think it's a reasonable scenario that for some of those things you might actually have a huge discrepancy in conversion rate for the lifetime offer between US, Europe, and maybe let's go even down to some Asian countries and etc. Right, like or South America, right? You will see a discrepancy in conversion rate just because of the price points. I know people see that with courses as well. There's if you turn on the what is it called, the purchasing parity, right? Purchasing price parity, uh, and you actually adjust automatically the price between countries. Obviously, more people end up buying your courses or community access, etc., just because the pricing is more available to them. Same thing will happen with this lifetime issue. So you probably need to, again, potentially also scale the price based on region, but then again, you're not actually getting cheaper pricing in the Western Europe than in the US, despite the discrepancy in available disposable income. So that part in the pricing would lead to lower conversions overall. I'm pretty sure, even if you maintain closer conversions in the US, I think it will drop off somewhere else. So this will be potentially, let's say, discounting your potential revenue per customer by half. Now, is this a good deal? I don't know. Is discounting by half a good deal for you, like mentally, for you having the ability to just have the funding for some other bet, like some other business, or continuing the same business? So, like, I don't know if that's actually a good deal for you. Because at some point you're making too little money, right? Like, at some point the business actually is making too little money for you to be able to sustain it unless you can push marketing through. And theoretically, getting the money up front allows you to scale up the marketing efforts and actually invest in enough time to also perhaps have the budget to get good training for the algorithms to find the right customers for you, and you can iterate with your creatives as well. So ads become a little bit more accessible if you do the lifetime deals, because you kind of have the money and budget and you can afford to test it out. Obviously, the risks are that you have the budget, so you might just burn it if you don't know what you're doing. But at least you have that option, option of running some kind of marketing, some kind of paid marketing, and that could be the reason why, for example, you might be able to scale that lifetime deal better than the monthly. Now, to me, this crazy idea comes in, then like, but what if you just launch it as a lifetime deal, and then when you manage to, let's say, do some ad campaigns or anything, you manage to scale the business a bit, and you realize that you found like that niche audience and you understand the audience better, you actually open up the monthly plan after the lifetime exists. You like kind of like it's like pre-sales on courses like the Denny Postma's SEO course, etc. Like you pre-fund the business, you get the business to scale a bit, and then you open the monthly offer anyway, because you just want to have that cash flow, and potentially maybe even get a better LTV, because maybe at some point you realize that you kind of start realizing like what approximate thing you can charge for the customers, because you have a better sense of like what type of customer it is, how much money they're potentially making, and how much money they can afford to spend on those things. And we might realize, I can actually increase the LTV with the subscriptions, and and the lifetime maybe is a little bit harder to just get the conversions up by increasing the lifetime, but you could just maybe include this monthly subscription, maybe even bump it a little bit higher, and still see people converting to the monthly offer. And hey, maybe you can even offer them upgrade to lifetime at full price. So you get the monthly subscriptions plus the lifetime, so your LTV goes up even more. But for the lifetimes though, for the lifetime offers, there's always a benefit that you can include some kind of supplemental products like upsells that are not related. Like basically you pay the lifetime offer for whatever you got, and you're updating the core product, but you might be able to stack up supplemental upsell offers that can increase that LTV even within that lifetime offer. So you might be including things that are, again, one-time fees, or maybe you actually start offering small things that are actually monthly things to be like, oh yeah, a person might benefit from this from time to time. They can just turn it on, turn it off, and they just get like charged some kind of monthly fee for that additional service, for example. I think that's one option, or it's a supplemental offer, another tool that you develop with that pre-funded money, uh, and you actually just upsell that tool to the same audience, and they can benefit from that as well if they want to. Um, yeah, I think I have expressed myself on this topic quite a lot. I was looking for some other tweet on this because there was some other tweet that I missed, and I can't even see all the tweets because I'm blocked by Peter Levels. So there were some tweets I think I never get to see. All right, there was also this one. The pricing too cheap for the social media. I'm generally not convinced because I don't know what the cost is on this pro package, like what the actual variable costs are for the average customer, like how much it costs to run the business, because given all the fees and everything, even on the transaction and then on this AI and everything, whatever it's going on there, I feel like $9 is way too low. Plus, there's a free plan, so you have some kind of expenses that you could count as your counting towards your margin between the customers who upgrade. Like $9 a month seems very bad. You probably left with like what, $5-6 per customer. You need 1,000 customers to make 5K a month. Yeah, like, and you can't run any ads basically on that. Like, you can run, but you don't have the funding to really run them, because you running ads per customer, because acquiring a customer might cost like 20. Okay, let's say that even if it costs 10, you're not getting that money back within a month. So you might just not have the funding to actually run any type of paid marketing as well. So this problem, like when you're charging such a low price, is generally that you want to have a margin for some marketing efforts. And that's not even speaking about the fact that how much do you need to make to feel good about sustaining the tool. Because there are tools that like that do really well. Like there's, for example, for Shopify, there's the most popular reviews app. It's Judge Me. It has a free plan, which is really good. Like you can stay on the free plan. There's some branding from them left on the app, so they technically get they appear on the on your store, but it's pretty good. But you also have the $15 a month, and that's it. That's unlimited limited plan. It's called Awesome, and that's it. And they have become the most popular app on the platform for reviews, and a lot of people use it, including some large stores. So I'm not sure how much money they end up actually making those customers, especially if they're storing all the I mean, I assume they actually switched off servers, or not just using cloud, but like expensive cloud offers for everything. But basically, if you have like a lot of uh, video reviews and image reviews, all that user generated content, that you need to store it over time. Like obviously you're increasing the cost um, for some large store. But if you're but there's no scaling. There's just $15 a month, right? And that app is doing well, allegedly. It's been really good in terms as a product, and seems to be working for them. Obviously, the price is their like selling point. It's just a low price, because other tools are like $30, $50. Some are even scaling pricing based on basically your revenue slash like order amount, like monthly order volume. And they can scale into hundreds a month. And honestly, they're only marginally better in some aspects, and they're worse in other aspects. I have seen like mixed feelings about those. So it's hard to say like, oh no, don't go with the low pricing, right? But I believe on average people are undercharging, and this $9 a month looks unless you can somehow magically reach scale through word of mouth pretty quickly, uh, that you don't burn out from sustaining like a low revenue product, you're probably not going to have fun. So yeah, I think there's people even say like $30 a month or something. Oh no, it was he himself, and I think this is Peter levels. I'm blocked, so I can't see his tweet. I can actually check. Yeah, that's Peter levels. Yeah, 30 a month is already 10 times cheaper than any other tools offering a similar offer. So the question is why you have 10. I mean 9, not even 10, 9. Middle tier, yeah. Yeah, middle tier is always good. The reason why you want the middle tier and the max tier is actually not as much as you have just those tiers for different people. You want to do like price anchoring. So you have the expensive tier, which maybe might be more aligned with these 10x cheaper than other similar tools. So you'll have this 99 is more like 149. And then if 149, people already think, okay, that cool tool, that like popular tool that does things well, like it costs 200 a month. And this one's 149, but they have this middle plan that seems to might fit for me, and it's only, let's say, 39, 49. You kind of your price anchoring psychologically convince yourself to get that middle plan. You add this label here at the top, says recommended or best value or very like most popular. You just add that label on top, so people be like, oh yeah, I get why it's most popular, right? Yeah, you just convince yourself psychologically to buy into that middle tier. That's like price anchoring is important. That's why I also like see this 0 and 9, like it feels bad, but if there was probably a higher pricing, the 9 would actually feel better as like a steal. Yeah, there's also a smart idea about these heavily discounted annual plans, so they kind of like anchor people on just getting that free. And for some, it obviously does well. I assume when you see that, it's also probably pretty discounted, but compared to the competitors, but for them, it's actually impressive. Actually, 95% picking annual, very impressive because they have the half, like 50% discount on the annual plan. Obviously, don't know what the. Do I want to see? Maybe I want to see what it is. Oh, it's real estate rentals. AI to unlock highest property deals. Oh no, it's yeah, just square meter pricing. Okay, so it's actually real estate. Yeah, for real estate, obviously makes sense that people will be more willing to actually pay more as well for those tools because they are pretty damn expensive overall. And basically, people dealing with real estate generally are sitting on some cash for down payments, etc. So obviously it actually makes sense that if you set it up like this, they have the cash, they want the best deals, they just pay it. But if you think about other segments of people who don't have that, who are not in this category where they are sitting on cash, you kind of need to, and are not probably in the income bracket where they can afford to buy a new home like that. You can't use the same logic. This is also another topic here because yeah, the social media part, like whoever's posting the social media, there's one audience that obviously will be quite wealthy, upper middle class, but there will be also be random people who just want to schedule their social media. This just like the indies and other small businesses, and they generally might not actually subscribe to just the upfront deal. So so with this deal, you kind of need to know your customer. I don't know if it was intentional and they understood that aspect, but I have a heavily feeling that the easy conversion on the annual deal is because the literal product they're selling is for real estate deals. So it's a person who's looking at that tool is a person who's sitting on a lot of cash. So they can afford it. There's no strain on their in their mind like gosh, if I spend this money I won't have money for something else, for example. That's not a thought that's in their mind in that position. Obviously I could be wrong, but that's like my first impression how I generally see pricing tiers go on like the psychology. I mean, like if you're targeting the audience that can afford to pay that lifetime fee, as we talked about US being a more likely audience for a lifetime deal than a subscription deal, then yeah, sure, go for it. But you need to also understand, like the side effects of that, like that you might be alienating another group of people, and maybe you don't want them. Maybe that's your selection. Maybe that's your filtering on the pricing. I wanted to check something. Here we go. All right. Interesting that I'm not getting some issues on this. Yeah, I didn't even notice the chat from G-Tricks off. I didn't even notice. Oops. Okay, I wonder what other topic I could pick up here. Because on Friday nights I already didn't expect generally getting much discussion with people because of the fact it's Friday, especially in Europe it's already evening, and generally for I guess US it's already getting in the afternoon or middle of the day around I guess the West Coast. Generally on Friday none of our spaces and etc have worked very well with getting viewers and engagement on Fridays. But I generally wanted to stream a bit to just discuss some topics as well. It's also nice for me to, when I just discuss like this on live streams, I kind of get a little bit more thoughts out on some subjects. So what I can do later with that is I can go over the transcripts. I can also already remember some of the topics I talked about, and I can decide to create some content on it, whether written, video content, or like cut version of this live stream, or actually edit a proper like create a proper recording and edit it a bit to create some kind of short form video, or like a 10-minute video, for example, for YouTube. I'm definitely thinking about doing that with, especially also yesterday's talk with Black Friday. There's definitely some content I can put together, both in the written form on X, for example, and also on YouTube. And then had a conversation with Francesco before, and we could also do some tier lists. That's usually good content for video. Everyone loves tier lists. And there was another topic we talked about where I wanted to get into was the YouTube SEO as well. It's kind of a nice topic. So I've been live for 53 minutes. Probably not gonna take much longer than 1 hour, maybe 1 hour 30 minutes max. So just thinking if there's another topic I could pick up to go over, because these pricing discussions have been interesting to say the least. The most important like the one of the most important things to understand about pricing is always like, how are you positioning yourself with that? Like, both from the perspective of the audience targeting, like, is your audience actually interested or willing to pay that type of amount? So, because if you're targeting some kind of indie hackers and students, if you're targeting the average indie hacker and not the successful ones that have made it to certain amount of MMR, you will not probably convert them that well on the like not annual, but like the lifetime deals pricing. It'll be harder unless it's obviously incredibly cheap, but then you're probably just shooting yourself in the foot by reducing your lifetime value. All right, we had a discussion about this as well. There was one more. We had a discussion about this. I saw it later too on this another one. Yeah. Ditch your subscription. I killed 3 startups because of recurring revenue. Yeah, sure. But this comment, right? I'm announcing lifetime access to the unlimited Webflow design subscription for growing startups. 250,000 one-time payment for lifelong Webflow design and development. I'm not joking. Now this pricing for United States sounds much better, by the way. If you start thinking about like how much the designer costs for you, like you start thinking about locally hiring someone, like the pricing, like you can somehow like convince yourself into this pricing much easier, for example. But then if you compare it, for example, in Europe, someone might be willing to pay a couple thousand for a designer a month. Maybe even 10,000. I actually don't know what the monthly pricing on this is. I have no idea what the monthly pricing was. Oh gosh, why is it laggy for me? Wait, what? So the monthly pricing is 2.5k. How are we getting to 100x? I mean, it's more like 80x, but what? Is it the same package? I mean, unlimited designs and what do you mean? What do you mean you have what? So 250k LTV, and then you have I'm just gonna simplify 3k monthly, and then you like, I don't know, like what you keep maybe you retain the same customer for like, okay, let's be generous, 2 years at the same pricing. Not even like, okay, not inflation adjusted, by the way. Getting the 250k upfront obviously is better in regards to inflation if if you can't up the pricing and the people just fall off. What? Okay, imagine you take it on average like 2 years, right, per customer. 72K? Are we just giving? I guess 72K LTV. So you're trying to get three times LTV on that lifetime offer. So 6 years of service at least to technically equalize from the perspective of the customer. Is that what I'm getting from this? So you would need to, because this would be 2 years. Oh wow, so you need like 7 years of service at this price. Like in your mind as a customer, you would be looking at today's pricing. You would not be like, yes, you should be including inflation, but as a customer, if you start thinking about pricing, you would be calculating based on today's pricing. You wouldn't even unless someone is putting it in place that this is inflation protected, that you protect yourself against inflation or something, unless you literally putting it in front of their face, being like, yeah, think about inflation as well. You know, it's getting very expensive each year, 10% or something more expensive every year. You want to lock in the price, right? Unless you're also pushing them that way, they would be counting on this, and that we're talking about what, 7 months to pay off the one-time offer. 7 months, I mean 7 years to pay off the one-time offer. Are you gonna work with Webflow for 7 years? You can't even afford, you don't even want to commit to an annual subscription on Shopify. Are you committing to working with Webflow for 7 years? And obviously we can come up with rationalization what the perfect customer for this is. It's, you know, some kind of person who has, let's say, exited from a startup. They want to start their next bet. They're a serial entrepreneur just launching ideas. They want to test the ideas, so they need someone to just quickly just pump out those designs, right? I mean, could also be a crypto bro. Could also be a crypto bro, right? Who's just wants some pump and dumps. So needs just a lot of landing pages, different coins launched every month. They might be like, yeah, I'm gonna give you Bitcoin, you know, not 250K in dollars. I'm just gonna send you some Bitcoin. Okay, that's a deal, right? That's one option as well. But we are here looking like, because I bet it's like two year average subscription, yeah. So we are so if we would actually be taking this lifetime deal of 250K, we're basically talking about, let me just actually calculate more properly. So it'd be 250 divided by 36. We're talking about 6.9 years to pay off the lifetime deal. That's why I said 7 years. It's actually 6.9 something, but it's a nice number when you go with 6.9 instead. So if you calculate that way, it actually sounds like a bad deal to me. I would not feel like I would be taking such a deal, because then I would be like, yeah, but why don't I just get the monthly subscription? Even if I'm a serial entrepreneur, I have the money. I have exited my companies. I may have like maybe self-funded companies, bootstrapped companies, and they're going well. There's cash flow. Even then, from a perspective of protecting my assets and being able to invest my money somewhere, I'd rather put those 200K and just get a subscription, put those 200K somewhere else. And if I'm a serial entrepreneur, I probably know I can get better return than protecting myself against some kind of 10% inflation by getting this deal where it's technically fixed price now, and you protect yourself. The service fee might go up, for example. Even if I might know that I can get better return than 10% annual interest on the money, because I will not be putting it I'll be investing in my business or some kind of other startups or ideas, and I know I can get on average better return than 10% API. I don't care about protecting myself against inflation in that regard. So this pricing, that's why this 250K pricing to me, like you can come up with ideas who the customer is, who could buy it. But when you do the math, and some people will do the math when they need to put 250K down the line, you know you will do the math when you need to have this down payment or more for a real estate property. You know you will do the math for this amount, right? So you will do it for buying a person as your personal designer as well. Because you can compare it to like an average designer salary, etc. But we're not talking about this because you still have a monthly offer, and someone else probably also has a monthly offer that's similarly priced for designer. Maybe it's 5K a month, where then you're comparing it to like what 4 or 5 year comparison payoff period. It's harder to convince on these kind of insanely large one-time offers. Obviously, I'm talking about this one a lot, but nothing bad against the pricing. Just if I do the math, like not very convincing. But actually, what Mark was saying about here's a recurring payments conversion rate drop subscription. Yeah, I agree partially that there is a resistance to that, resistant to the subscriptions as well. But there might be also a little bit of a select audience selective feedback where it depends on the price of the actual one-time commitment. Because if you have a conversion rate drop compared to a lifetime commitment, it's likely that your lifetime commitment, like the pricing, is actually underpriced if your conversion rate is actually lower for subscription than your lifetime offer. There's actually a huge chance you simply have underpriced your product. But this was we talked initially. I mean, I talked initially since we didn't exactly have any guests today. I talked initially was the fact about that's why you would want to, both for like your psychological and mental reasons, why you would actually like to charge up front is to fight churn and have peace of mind and be able to develop the product on specifically your own terms. That's pretty much the main reason you would feel from a personal perspective as as a builder, as a solopreneur, as a solo business. Like that's why I would think like the reason why you would go to with the lifetime deals, and even if you're doing like 5-year and annual deals that I see these. And I mean, 5-year and 10-year deals on some things as well. I believe there was Francesco one day linked some kind of learning tool, I believe. I mean, learning service for language learning, I believe. And it was like, was it 8 years or 10 years? Some large number, and they were selling it for like 200. Now, you would expect that if they're selling it for 200, their lifetime value of the customer is actually below that. I would assume their lifetime deals are actually above their lifetime value of the average customer with a monthly subscription. Can I actually find it? I'd love to find that image or something. Unfortunately, I can't. And yeah, I responded to Christian as well on regarding him tuning in. And thanks for tuning in. Somehow the chat disappears if I open it again on X, but I see it in my Streamlabs dashboard, and I think it shows up on stream as well, the chat, even from X. Although I wasn't sure if the XChat will actually go there as well, but I guess it does. Yeah, okay, yeah. If we're talking here, 10%, I mean $10 monthly and 100 one time. Now 100 is pretty low price still. That's why you actually often can convert many people on the 100 and be like, yeah, that's just your lifetime deal, because 100 still for many will be, depending on the tool you're selling, it will be relatively low price still, because for example, I have a $139 subscription on SEMrush, for example, and that's monthly subscription for a tool. Right, so 100 time, if it looks like it's a tool of good value, obviously it's a low price. When we're reaching those price brackets where like $300, $400, where you start having way more resistance, that's where you're comparing like $29 monthly subscription or $39 monthly subscription to 400 lifetime. The equation can change then, because 100, that's a person can drop it pretty easily. Now 400, if you're talking about, for example, people in Europe, well, they might have problems putting 400 aside just randomly, dropping it on the day they see it. They might actually sometimes need to budget their expenses a little bit better these days. So it's not. Then it becomes about targeting. Yeah, sure. If you're running ads, for example, it's a to US market, for example. Sure, I mean, no problem. You probably still convert on a decent rate, but then you go in Europe, you might actually in some countries struggle getting those conversions. And nothing to say like, oh no, no one that has money in Europe. It's more like when you have less of that disposable income, you kind of start making more calculations in your head, so you need more convincing that it's worth the money, right? So you need a lot of trust, authority, see the good feedback, understand that it's solving exact problem you have, and that it probably can make you more money, for example, or save you a lot of money. Like, you need to be much better on the copy for that to work. But yeah, if you're comparing like 10 to 100, this is a price bracket where you have way lower resistance for anything. That's when you're starting to go at like 400, 500, and then in the thousands, that's where you have all the resistance and logistical issues of people not having that money in cash to spend on that month for that month. But yeah, I mean, thanks for dropping in, Christian. Yeah, but I mean, if you're still here, do you have any other questions? I mean, do you have any questions yourself, maybe, or any discussion you would like to have? Like, for example, all right, you already made your first sale on the job board. I mean, you might not be here, but now I remembered XR job board. Right. And you have that first sale with a featured job. Pretty cool, actually. I don't know how you got it, but it's still pretty cool that you have finally made it to your first feature sale. Then I see that you made couple upgrades. You made the upgrade to the having the description for each job still, so it gets indexed. That's really nice. You still haven't, I guess, gotten to work on the categories. What I wanted to do was xrjobsboard.com. I wanted to actually do this as well. Check on this. Yeah, you're getting those jobs indexed, which is really nice. Not many pages, I guess. Wait, what? How is it? Slash job or slash jobs? Is it slash jobs? Job? Okay. I mean, yeah, maybe not that many jobs indexed yet, but it's going pretty good for you. It takes time usually to index pages, especially when it's a new page. It might take a little bit longer sometimes to index everything. There's also sometimes some duplicate content issues when if your content is one-to-one copy of the original. For example, I'm not sure how relevant this for job boards. I actually don't deal with job boards as much, but this content, if it's completely the same, sometimes Google decides it's a duplicate content with another page and it will not index your version. So that's when we had a call I mentioned about that if you want to take the information they have here and sometimes reformat in your job boards format by having some kind of here you have the hybrid, salary, full-time. You can just have some of these aspects pulled out and added somewhere as well, like a preview, and then you maybe even not include all the sections from the original text here, for example. That's sometimes to avoid it. I'm not entirely sure how relevant it is for the job board specifically, but it's one way to reduce the duplicate potential. I've seen in e-commerce sometimes what happens is, for example, if you're reselling a product that some kind of brands are just allowing you to basically resell on their behalf, and you're just taking their descriptions from API or something, and you have 10 other stores doing the same, selling those same products. You would with the new store, you would often be you can see some of those stores actually ranking with that same description and being indexed, but yours will not, and you will see in Google Search Console that it says something like duplicate content, or that Canonical was other site, but another page was selected as Canonical or something. Actually, I'm not sure entirely how relevant, how good those errors are nowadays, but that used to be case for some of the projects when we did have this when if you reuse the same content. And the way sometimes you can check that is basically okay, wait. Sometimes an easy way to check that is just taking some text like this, dropping it in here. Obviously, I'm dropping it too long of text, but you're getting, I think, the same. What did I even take? I took the DeepIR, right? So yeah, they have this somewhat the same text here as well. Your site is still not here, but yeah. I will reduce the text so it doesn't, because it's harder to match it. Yeah, we have basically the same text here. Oh, we even get an AI overview with LinkedIn on LinkedIn. That's a different company, but DeepIR. Wow, you could just get the whole job description AI overview. I have not actually paid attention to these AI overviews. You get the same, and it's even a link to their page, right? Oh, it just shows the sources of it, right? What? This is not the same content, is it? It's just a mix of random content. Let's give you a download. No, I actually don't see any other page, right? ranking with the same text. It's only this one. Although you also have the same text. Sometimes it's because of duplicate. Oh wow. I guess that's they are. Yeah, their text looks about the same as yours because you scrape the same text. It's almost 1.5 hours. Should soon wrap it up. It did give me some ideas still about the topics I want to kind of cover. In future. I probably will. I mean, there are a couple topics I obviously want to cover. I want to finish wrapping up the Black Friday talk we wanted to do because we didn't complete it. And that might even come in the form of some kind of video, whether that's cut from the live stream or I need to re-record it eventually. If I say re-record it, then I'll probably at best do it within 2 weeks time because I'm just too lazy to edit. But I might do it then within a couple weeks. And that will literally leave 1 month before Black Friday. So that's basically the last that's the last moment. That's the last call for you to start doing something about Black Friday. 1 month before. So I might wrap that topic up. I want to go a little bit deeper on some SEO topics. Have a little bit more guests as well. Missing Dennis still. Kind of had planned to stream with Dennis. What other topics I wanted? Oh yeah, the SEO and there were some specific ideas as well, like for example doing SEO research for Reddit and stuff, because there's that product now launched, what was it, Redreach or something, and you can do the same obviously with yes, it's true, and with more expensive tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, you can do similar things as well, or you can also do API requests to those. Likely the same databases that a lot of these indie tools use for SEO. You can get those databases of data and you can run API request against it and get pretty good data for SEO research without having to scrape it. You can get pretty good data for it. Like here, let's show you. Data for SEO databases, and you get a lot of databases. You get Google, Bing, Amazon, App Store databases. You get the SERP APIs. You get keyword data. You get backlink API. You get some kind of on-page API as well, reviews API. You can technically they have scraped a lot of data, and you can run APIs from this cost. Very very low cost per request. You can actually just simply run, for example, these kind of things very, very, very inexpensively. And this is on top of what many of the tools in the indie community are built upon, actually. These kind of databases, they might not always tell you, but a lot of the stuff they do is built on top of this. So you can have your own build of something like this without scraping the whole internet. You can use tools like this as well. So it's a dataforseo.com. One of them. Yeah, here, for example, search query pizza, location United Kingdom, and you get this API response with all the results. It shows you what it has, what's the Google URL looking. It shows you exactly find results on. It shows you that this find results on section it shows all the find results on section. Then the local pack, So it has all the local pack, which is the places, and organic, and then it has the organic links, basically whatever you see here, organic links with all the title, XPath, which is the DOM, description, images as well. Everything is there. It's a really cool tool, by the way. This kind of stuff is really cool for SEO. You can build a lot with this on your own. And obviously it's easier to sometimes pay for the tools, yeah, but there might be tools that are not for SEO for you, but you need something specific information, like just technically scraped. You can use a tool like this and get it in API format and more reliably use it in your code, for example, at very cheap cost, for example. Like could be a good feature sometimes to use. And you don't need to do your own implementation for all the scraping and everything, processing the scrape data, and if something's also broken, you at least might be able to handle the errors or issues. So this would be one thing I would actually recommend people sometimes try, or even maybe find some really good ideas how they can utilize this. Wow, I already had this. I just saw this pop up in some another page. Come on. Yeah, look into the databases. What was the Bing database pricing? Because maybe the Bing could still be a niche you could get into. Yeah, $40 per million rows. So the Bing US database will cost you $37. Yeah, that makes no sense. The keywords database will cost you which is what you want. The SERP database will obviously cost you significantly more. Yeah, this is more like for 37,000. I was like, wait, why is $37? That doesn't make sense. Because the full database is obviously very large. Yeah, for example, 44,000. You know, if you buy the whole database and just then work with some kind of snapshot of the database for, like, obviously you're not gonna pay that off, but hey, if you're working with some smaller business, you just don't want to do it yourself, and you just want to work with some Swedish data, for example, for a Swedish market, you get for 610, you get a lot of valuable information that you might not even, it might not even as relevant for you to update it frequently. It might just be enough that if you know it's not very seasonal or stuff, we might just need it like once a year. Makes it $60 a month to get some kind of relatively fresh data, for example, for keywords. Yeah, but these databases are really cool for building products. There's more of them too, but one of them is this. We can get some good products and other people building products on top of them. That's how the small SEO tools, some of them are built. All right, I should wrap it up for today. And thanks for tuning in, especially Christian, who left a message, and someone else who was leaving a hey message. I have no idea whether you were just showing up. Oh, that's what the spammer too. Thank you for dropping in, but don't spam, please. Anyway, I think it's enough for today. It's been almost 1.5 hours. Next week, don't have a schedule yet, but there will probably be more happening, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly that will be. have some ideas, but have not fully planned it out. There will probably be some SEO discussions, definitely. There might be some conversion rate discussions. Could go through A/B testing as well as a topic. Overall, just showcasing why it might not make much sense when you have very low traffic, for example. What you can do and what are the issues with like making those decisions on very small, very low traffic, or how testing multiple things at once, which seems to be pretty common for some people, can mislead you to make the wrong decision because one of the tests was causing like a positive effect and one was negative, and whichever effect was stronger technically outweighed the other one. So you might make a completely wrong conclusion that one thing was not working and the other one was working. And I want to check what's happening with my YouTube stream. All right, all good. All good. Anyway, yeah. I also obviously have a newsletter. That's nesters.me/newsletter. You have a newsletter subscription box there. You can subscribe if you want. You get some updates occasionally. I'm trying to start to stay consistent on it as well to make sure I can share some knowledge on all SEO, like conversion rate, all kinds of marketing tips, also customer experience and ads, e-com, I guess, as well. And sometimes maybe I'll share some different type of topics, but I should be getting weekly cadence on that with some more condensed information for you to take some ideas from, and maybe also spark some new ideas, some new projects that you could build. That's the value I'm trying to provide in general. And yeah, all right, see you next time.